All right, well, time for another episode of Let's see how many more days goes by before Tony has a complete mental breakdown. Um, it's funny because I've always thought to myself, now, of course, this could be completely wrong because I guess who the fuck knows if you're ever right or not, and if maybe there isn't even a right, but I've always kind of thought that I've always thought that kind of like the more aware you are, the more I don't know, it feels like you're always just right on the edge of going insane. So because when you're not aware at all, you just don't really think about things too much. You just, it's kind of like being a kid. It's kind of sweet. You know, when you're a kid, all you care about is getting a nice toy for Christmas, and having fun with your friends, and your thoughts don't really go much deeper than that. And then somewhere along the lines, you get older, and then you start thinking about things. And then you think about things some more and some more. And then you start thinking, where is this all headed? What the fuck am I doing here? Where is this all headed? And I guess where it's headed is me having a YouTube channel and then having a podcast. I guess that was my destiny all along. You know, I feel like I'm finally fulfilled now. I could just die a happy man. It's weird. It's like the older I get, the more I don't want anything, and the not wanting anything might sound nice because you're free. It's like, oh, I'm free. I don't want anything. But it's the wanting of things that sort of drives you to do things. You know, like, I find that like when you're in your teenage years and in your 20s, you're really driven because it's like this idea of like, I want to prove to the world who I am and what I can do. And it's really just all about you. You're kind of like a selfish fuck, right? I talked about this many times before. But then you get into your 30s and 40s, and then it's kind of like that's toned down a bit, you know? You're not really just all about you and what you can prove to the world. And then when that goes away, it's really not about you anymore. It's about other people. So I think that's why, and also not to mention this whole idea, I've always, I kind of wonder if the idea of success will finally fade out someday. Like people will realize it was a silly idea. You know, because it's a strange thing because I guess we're driven by success, you know, because if we don't have success, we feel like failures. And it's such a never-ending cycle. I'm just fascinated how people still believe in it and how they're so surprised after they get it, how it means nothing. And it's like, what do you do now? It really blows my mind. Like, there's got to come a time eventually where people realize we're chasing nothingness. Because we're trapped in that cycle of success so much. You know, like I'm a big fan of YouTube and I watch a lot of YouTube channels, and it just blows my mind how like every single YouTuber goes through the exact same psychological process. It almost makes me wonder what the fuck do they, it's like we're all the same. We're all exactly the same. We have slightly different hair color and our face looks slightly different, but it's like we're so similar and we all go through the exact same psychological process. It's so funny. Like we're all the same. We're having this exact same experience from just infinite points of view. Oh, I'm a piece of shit. I'm nothing. Oh, Now I've become successful on YouTube. You know, like every YouTube person has the same fucking story. Oh, I really wanted success. I busted my ass off. I grinded. I was a hustler. And then they get success. And then it's like, what the fuck do I do now? Now I just have to keep holding on to this because if my subscriber count dips down below again, now I'm a piece of shit again. I'm a failure. So your whole life is just this never-ending game of keeping your subscriber count high. I'm not growing anymore as a channel. I'm a failure. Oh my God. See, like, people have this exact same mentality that like corporations do. We're acting like fucking corporations. We want infinite growth. My channel's not growing anymore because that's what the way companies are. Companies are like, well, we made $2 million last year. This year, we have to make 4 million. And then next year after that, we have to make 6 million and then 12 million. Like it's exponential growth. That's the way a corporation values itself. And if it's not exponentially growing, it's a piece of shit company. It's basically a failure. And that's the way people are treating themselves. It's like if I'm not exponentially growing, if my subscriber count is not getting higher, or if I'm working at some job at some office, and like if I don't constantly get promotions, I'm a piece of shit because I have to keep moving up the corporate ladder. And it's like it's just a never-ending game, and that's basically life. And if you don't play that game, what the fuck are you? You're basically useless in normal life. You know, my friends used to always joke with me, and they're like, Tony, I don't know what I see for you. I don't see you in normal society. You should probably just go like meditate on a mountaintop somewhere and be alone. Because that's really the only fucking place you have. Because if you live in normal modern society, you either play that game or where the fuck do you belong if you're not playing that game? Like, where are you? You're basically useless. Like you have no purpose in modern society if you're not playing that game. Now you can say, oh no, but then play the game where you make YouTube inspirational videos telling people that success comes from your heart and it's not something, but then you're playing that game too. It's like, I'm going to be the most successful YouTube guru. Do you understand? Like, that's the irony of it. Like, I see it in everybody, even quote unquote enlightened spiritual gurus and motivational speakers. They're doing the exact same shit. It's like, look how fast my channel's growing. Oh God, I'm such a good guru. I'm really motivating people, telling them that success is empty and like you should follow your heart, not success. But I'm being so successful doing this. It's all the same shit, right? It's just a never-ending cycle of the same shit. And you think, oh, it's okay, Tony, just do your own thing. Yeah, sure, you can always do your own thing, but you're not fucking part of society. Because if you're not doing what society is doing, you're a piece of shit. It's always been that way. That's the way existence works. There's a social norm in a society, whether you lived in the 1800s or the 1400s or now, whatever the social norms and the way society ran then, you had to kind of mold yourself and be a part of that. Because if you weren't, you're basically a piece of shit. Like, what the fuck is this guy doing? So if I lived in the 1400s and I wasn't sort of doing what's normal for the 1400s, people would look at me like, who's this Tony guy? What the fuck is wrong with him? Get your shit together, Tony. And that's the way it is now. Like, we're always playing the game of like, how do I fit into the social norms? This all starts when you start going to school, right? It's like, oh, where do I belong in school? Am I part of this group? Am I part of that group? Like, when I went to school, I was really not a part of any group. I kind of casually talked to everybody, but I never really felt like I was a part. So I think it's funny because I should have probably clued in then that like, I never thought about it much then, but I should have clued in at a very young age. I'm like, oh, really? So if this is a sign of what's going to come in the future, I probably won't belong anywhere, because I never really felt like I belonged in any sort of social group, you know? It's like, was I a complete jock? No, but I played sports and I had some friends in school that were jocks, but was I like this way? No. Did I play music? Yeah, I played music, and I had some like music type friends. I played guitar, but it's not like that's all I was. So I kind of just like slightly fit in like a little bit in all the groups, but I never really felt like, I kind of always felt like I was floating around by myself. Like I didn't really feel like any place was really mine that I felt at home at. So I guess I should have clued in. If you, when you start noticing that at an early age and when you're younger, yeah, you probably will feel that way as an adult too, most likely. There's just some people just don't fit into social norms. And when you're like that, it's weird trying to function in normal society. It's really, really weird. Like sometimes I do things and I don't even know why I'm doing them. You know, I have this YouTube channel, I make videos, and I always wonder why. Sometimes I will just make a video. I'm like, you know, Tony, today just make a video. But I really don't know why I'm making them. There's one part of me that's like, well, it comes naturally to you. Just do it, right? Because as part of society, you're supposed to do whatever comes naturally to you. So it's like, oh, being in front of the camera or talking, those things always came naturally to me, right? So I guess that's what you do, Tony. I guess. But it's weird because it's like, okay, so because something comes naturally to you, I guess that's what you got to do, right? Because when you think like, if you're on an island with 1,000 people, right? And it's just 1,000 people on this island. You guys, so who does what? Well, I guess you just, you know, whatever you can contribute to that group, that's what you can contribute, whatever you're naturally capable of doing. But I guess with a group of 1,000 people, I don't know if they would really need someone to make YouTube videos or be in front of the camera or talk, you know, have a podcast. I don't know if they really need a podcast. You know, so if I was a part of that 1,000 and somebody would be like, well, I'm a medic, you know, I could help with like medical issues. Somebody could be like, well, I'm an engineer. Somebody could be like, yeah, I can build things. I would be like, well, you know, I'm really good at talking and being in front of a camera. It's very, very easy for me. What can I do here? You know, I'd be kind of useless, I guess. Yeah, it's weird. Like when I think about the things that always came naturally to me, it would be like writing and talking. That's basically it, right? And that's what I do, but it's like sometimes I wonder why I even do it. Is it just because it comes naturally to me? Like, I don't know if I'm doing it because I think that I have to do it, because it's probably most likely because I don't know what else to do. It's like, what else would I do? And I always wonder why I'm doing it, and then I wonder what really... So I can't get these thoughts out of my head of like the idea of like, why does anyone do anything? I guess it comes back to the idea of free will. Because sometimes I honestly just feel like everything I do it's just like a motion that's going like, you know, there's like the Big Bang, right? And then every single thing that went into motion after the Big Bang, it's just like this domino effect. And most of the times I do kind of feel like I'm just a part of this like infinite domino effect. And when I wonder why do I do anything, it's because that's just what I'm doing. That's the motion that I'm in. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I think some people have this idea that they have a lot of control over their life. Like, I'm in charge and I make the choices. I decide to go where I want to go. And yeah, it's weird. I think I made a video one time about this idea of free will, and the only conclusion I've come to is the idea that I think that the only way we could possibly have free will is if our awareness lies somewhere beyond this physical world. I think that's the only way we could possibly have free will. What do I mean by that? Well, because our physical bodies, including our brains and everything that has to do with our bodies, is a part of this big bang thing that happened. And it's like this motion has just been going on, and like you're a part of this motion, and it's like a domino effect, you know? And that part of you almost feels like it just is a part of this movement that's just happening, and it's beyond you, beyond your control. Now, I think that the only way we can have free will if there's like an awareness that lies somewhere outside of this time and space that kind of guides you and moves you towards different directions. Because I assume that that part of you that's aware, if it's outside of space and time and outside of this motion, well, I whistled pretty hard when I said motion. If it's outside of that, if there's space and time, then it can make decisions and guide you based on actual choice and not momentum. Because I feel like everything to do with your physicality is based on momentum from the initial Big Bang or whatever puts things in motion. And then all the molecules, all the atoms in this universe have all just been going towards one direction. And I feel like the only way you can sort of counteract that is if you have an awareness that's beyond this space and time that moves and guides you somewhere. That's not in this game of like motion, you know, in this game of momentum. It's just like a still awareness that has no momentum based upon it. I think that's the only way. Because if we don't have that, it feels like we're just really, it's like just this momentum that just keeps happening. And I'm almost like just observing my life, and I feel like I don't really know. I really don't know if I'm really in control of any of it, and I also really don't know. I don't really know any way out of the games that we play. So like I said before, it's like we're just playing these games here, and it's like you either play along or what fucking purpose do you have? Because I get the game that we're playing right now on Earth here. I get it. And I don't really connect with it because I can just see it's a never-ending circular thing that you're just always chasing that carrot. And it's just tiring to always be chasing that carrot. But then what else do you do in the game? It's really kind of like, you know, it's kind of like, you know, like a video game. You know, like there's like a Grand Theft Auto. I think even if you don't play video games, you've casually seen it, you know? So in that game, you have two options. You either actually do the missions and stuff, or you just kind of like mindlessly wander around the game and just fuck around. That's what it's kind of like. You're either playing the game and doing the missions and trying to have an objective and a goal, or you're just wandering around thinking, oh, this is a pretty cool reality I live in. Let me just wander around. But you're just kind of mindlessly wandering around. It's not like, and everyone else in the game that's doing missions and accomplishing things, they're going to look at you like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Do a mission, accomplish something. Stop just wandering around. Because all you're doing is just wandering around. You know, because it's like, oh, you do a mission and you get an achievement. It's like, you know, so it's like you don't get excited about the idea of doing a mission or to get an achievement. But then what do you do? So it seems like you're kind of fucked either way. Because, you know, like the idea of like, oh, let me just go meditate. Oh, I don't believe in this game we're playing. Let me go meditate on a mountaintop somewhere. That just seems kind of ridiculous too. So you're here on Earth, and all you're doing is sitting meditating on a mountaintop all day long. Like, don't you want to do anything else? So it's weird because both ways seem a little too extreme. You know, completely detaching yourself from normal society and being like, yeah, that's not for me, that's a little extreme. But then also playing the game of normal society seems a little bit silly. So like, where exactly do you find the middle ground between that? That's the part that that's the part that I'm always struggling with, trying to figure out some sort of reasonable middle ground with it all. And listen, everybody in life has struggles. You know, some people have really serious health struggles. Some people could be like, hey, Tony, you stupid piece of shit. Like, I have serious health problems. My leg doesn't work properly, or something happened. My liver is failing. And you're sitting there whining, oh, I don't know where I belong in society. Boo hoo. Get over yourself. I get it, you know? But there's also this idea of like, I don't believe in the idea that that fake positivity. Do you know, like, oh, just don't worry about it. Things could be worse. I've always considered the saying "things could be worse" as one of the most idiotic statements that you can make. Oh, cheer up, Tony. Things could be worse. Yes, things could be worse. It's like it serves no purpose. Like, what does that even mean? Things could be worse. Of course, things could always be worse, and things could always be better, right? It's kind of like somebody saying, like, imagine somebody came up to me and said, oh my God, Tony, guess what happened? What? Oh, my leg got cut off. Yeah, I don't know, something happened and they had to cut my leg off. And I could be like, oh, well, cheer up, man. At least you have your other leg. Things could be worse, you know? At least you still have one leg. What the fuck is the point of that? You know, it's like, yeah, things could be worse. But things could also be better. He could have both of his legs, but he only has one, right? That's why that saying of like, is a glass half full or half empty. It doesn't matter. It's just, there's half water in the cup. You're just playing word games here. It's a fucking cup and it has half the amount of water in it, right? So it doesn't fucking matter. We're playing word games here. It's all nonsense. Oh, it's half empty. The glass is half full. It's the same amount. It doesn't fucking matter, right? It's like, playing word games to try to cheer ourselves up is kind of silly. It sounds like something you say to like a 5-year-old to cheer them up. Oh, don't worry. Oh, don't worry, buddy. Yeah, you're sad. Don't worry. Santa Claus is coming tomorrow. Cheer up. It's just, if you have to play a word play, if you have to do a word game and a word play to cheer yourself up, I mean, what is that? It's like, So yes, people have it much worse and people have it much better and people have it every other way. But yeah, like I said, everyone has their struggles, and this is this is one that I've sort of fought with really my Jesus Christ, I'm choking in my own thoughts. See, I think about this so much that I literally just choke at my own thoughts. This is something I've thought about for most of my adult life, that I've struggled with. I guess we all got to struggle with something, right? It'd be kind of weird if you had no struggles, right? Some people struggle with alcoholism. Some people struggle with drug addiction or with who the hell knows what, right? Everyone struggles with something. This is my struggle, trying to figure out some sort of way, one, to feel like I'm actually reasonably a part of society, because I've always felt like wherever society is, I'm floating somewhere in space, nowhere near it. And I think honestly, most of it has to do with just for the fact that when I look at society, I just don't even see awareness in it. I just always see just, hey, this is the way you're supposed to be in this modern age, and this is the way it is. I live in the 1400s. Well, this is the way I'm supposed to be now, and this is the way I am. And it doesn't seem like it's genuine. So just normal society never seems like it's genuine. It just seems like a game people play to fit in, Oh, you're supposed to wear pink dresses. Then you wear pink dresses. Oh, you're supposed to wear this. Everything is a thing, and it's like, well, this is what you do. It's kind of like traditions. I remember being young. I never understood the idea of like really strange traditions where I would always ask people like, why do you do that? Oh, I don't know. It's just tradition. But there was never really any thought behind it. They just sort of mindlessly did it because it was just tradition. But yeah, I always wanted to know, but why? It's like you walk into someone's house and they're like they're taping up the yellow ribbons on the walls, and you're like, why are you putting yellow ribbons on the walls? Ah, this is a tradition. We always do this in July. And you're like, what? What? Excuse me? Yeah, I don't know. It's just we've always done this. Yeah, this is what we do in July. We put up yellow ribbons on the walls. But what do you mean? Why? I don't know. It's just we've always done that. My parents did that. Their parents did that. It's always just something we do. And it's like that kind of stuff kind of always weirded me out. Because from an early age, I realized, oh wow, so people just literally mindlessly just do things. Oh, this is what we do. Hey, why don't you do this? Because it's wrong. Why? Because everyone says it's wrong. Why don't you do? Why do you do this thing? Because it's great. Everyone says it's great. So everything is really just this mindless following of whatever that time frame suggests for you to do. And if that's the case, you wonder where's individual awareness. I used to have these dreams a lot. I don't have them anymore, but I used to have these dreams a lot throughout my life where I'd be in a dream. I'd be in a dream and I'd look at somebody in a dream. I'd realize I was dreaming and I'd look at someone else in a dream and they had this sort of blank look in their eyes. They almost seemed like a AI character in a game. You know when you play like a video game and some of the characters that like the AI characters, they just seem like very mindless. They're just kind of like walking around like, and then you look at them and like they're not really all there, right? So that's what it would be like when I would have these dreams. I would have these dreams and I'd realize I was dreaming and I'd look at somebody in the dream and I would say, hey, you do realize we're dreaming right now, right? You realize that. And they would have this blank look on their face like they wouldn't understand. I'm like, come on, man, don't you understand? Like, we're dreaming right now. How crazy is that? We're in a dream right now. And they would still have this blank look. Like they would never be like, oh my God, we are. And they would never wake up from that sort of, that blank look on their face. And I tried so many times. I would have these repetitive dreams about that where like I'm in a dream, I realize I'm dreaming, and then I would look at somebody and I would tell them, hey man, wake up, we're in a dream. Do you realize we're in a dream right now? But they would never realize it. They would just kind of blankly look at me. And I would always be like amazed that I couldn't get them to wake up in the dream, which is kind of, I guess you really do dream about whatever you think about in your waking life because your dreams really follow you. If you really want to know a lot about your thought patterns and your state of mind, observe your dreams because I really feel like your frame of mind and your thoughts really follow you in your dreams. So I was probably mimicking something I probably thought in my waking life all the time. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you guys. If anyone is ever going to listen to this. That's always what I wonder about. I wonder about, will I ever find my place in this society? Because I don't believe there's any end game to any of this. It's just like a game we're playing. That's all. It's all anything is. Everything is just like a game we're playing. But the idea is, where do you fit inside this game? And every single one of us is like an individual piece in this game. And I think we're just always desperately trying to fit into this game. Because if you don't fit into this game, like I said, you just feel like you're floating out in space by yourself. So it's an incredibly lonely feeling to feel like you don't belong anywhere in the game. Because where in the game you belong is sort of irrelevant. It's just the idea of like belonging somewhere in the game, whether you're a plumber, an architect, a doctor, a garbage man, you work in a factory, you're a computer programmer. It doesn't really matter what you do, but you just want to feel like, hey, this is me in this game right now. And when I look at myself, I have no fucking idea who I am in this game. Yeah, it's strange. It's very, very strange to feel like you've lived your entire life and you still feel like you belong nowhere in the actual game. And the older I get, the harder it seems to be to get in the game, because the less I believe in the game. Like, you're supposed to be, like I said, you're supposed to be driven by these things. You're put, I got to really make more YouTube videos and do more podcasts because I got to become a success at it. And I don't, this idea of becoming a success, like I said, is a never-ending game, because what happens? You get your success and then you're desperately holding on to that success till the day that you die, because the second you don't have that success anymore, that apparent success, what I mean is, then you're considered a piece of shit again, right? It always comes back down to that, It's kind of like the idea of money, right? The irony is that it never ends, because if you focus on money, that idea never ends. Because when you're poor, you're focusing on the idea that you don't have money and it stresses you out. And then if you have money, if you're rich, you're stressed out about the idea of like, how do I hold on to this money? Because I don't want to lose this money. Because if I lose this money, I'm a piece of shit again who's poor, right? It's a never-ending fucking game. Everything is a never-ending fucking game if you play it. If you let yourself believe in any of these games too much, it's just a never-ending game of nothingness. So then if you realize that at the deepest level, what the fuck do you do? Like, how do you convince yourself to keep playing the game like it means anything? Oh, I'm somebody now. Wow, look at me. Oh my God, but what if someday I become nobody again? Oh no. Yeah, so we're all playing a game of like, validate me, please. I'm somebody, please. Somebody just somebody tell me I'm good. Somebody tell me I'm something special, so I can go to sleep at night peacefully. It's a strange game to play. And the irony behind that is if you numb yourself enough where you have no thoughts, then you just go back to the days of being a kid. So it always comes back to that, the idea of ignorance is bliss, right? What do you do? Do you want to be aware of the whole game, and do you want to be aware of what it is and how meaningless and empty it ultimately is? Or do you want to be just dumbed down enough where you actually are convinced that this is actually a cool, serious game we're playing and it matters? Like, or do you want to just get to the point where you don't even think about the game, that you're just a kid? Because a kid doesn't even think about the ultimate game, like, oh, I have to be this. And a kid just plays and does things for fun. It's almost like you want to get to the point where you have awareness, but then you also are able to just let go of everything and just do things for the simple pleasures of it, like a kid. Because a kid just does things for the simple pleasures of doing things. It's not overthinking things too much. And I think that's the biggest problem of awareness, the overthinking. Because if you overthink things, you realize the ultimate meaninglessness in everything, right? You're just existing, and there's no, there's just no end game. There's no, what do? You just exist. That's why we play these games. There's nothing else to do. Let's play a game where we do this, because there's nothing else to do. If I was just an awareness floating around in space and I was doing nothing, eventually I'd want to be like, fuck that, I'm going to come play a game, because there's nothing else to do. You're just an awareness. Oh my God. I think that people, sometimes I talk to people about the idea. Do you realize what it would mean to be an eternal awareness that just lives on forever? It's like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, like, really think about it. It's so insane and exhausting to even think about. You just this eternal awareness that just lives on forever and just keeps playing these games. It's crazy. My younger brother sent me a video the other day, and it was this guy who was my brother was kind of like freaking out because he's like, oh my God, look at this video. And it was a guy who ate 10 grams of mushrooms, and he had this crazy psychedelic experience. And my brother was like, oh my God, this is insane. Look at this video. And this guy was in this video was saying that, like, you don't understand. I was so high on mushrooms that I experienced lifetimes and lifetimes. And then he says, and then not just that, it wasn't just regular earth lifetimes. Like, hey, look, I experienced an entire lifetime of, like, I lived 100 years as this person in this life. He goes, no, it was beyond that. He goes, I lived eternities. And he was trying to explain to people, you do people understand what I'm trying to say? I lived entire eternities. I remember living entire eternities. And he was just, and you can just see the mental exhaustion in his eyes and his face. He was literally trying to explain to people, you don't understand. I remember experiencing entire eternities. And he had a look on his face that was like, you couldn't even describe it. It was like this, very similar with mushrooms, the same with DMT. Like, I've heard of people saying that, like, they took DMT, and a DMT trip is a psychedelic trip that lasts only about 10 minutes. And I've heard people say they came back after 10 minutes and they were traumatized and shocked because they go, oh my God, I'm back here. And then their friend's like, yeah, man, you've been gone for like 10 minutes. What's up? And the guy is like, you don't understand. I just came back here now, but I lived entire lifetimes. So in those 10 minutes when they were gone, they had the memory and perceptions of living entire lifetimes. So when they came back here after the 10 minutes, they were in shock. They were almost traumatized. Like, how the hell am I back here? Because they literally remember living entire lifetimes. And coming back and remembering entire lifetimes. Imagine remembering entire eternities. You know, I sometimes have that vague intuition. I have this weird, vague intuition of, like, living for an eternity before I became aware and conscious. That's such a crazy feeling to have. Sometimes I just close my eyes and I could almost feel like, okay, so I was just like this blankness, and then literally took like eons of time, an eternity of time for me to somehow magically gain awareness. And somehow I have this vague recollection of just like these sudden sparks and these just like process, like just that just literally took forever. And it's a crazy idea. Imagine if the way we all are aware now, imagine if that took an eternity for you to get awareness. Like, you just like these, somehow by some magical way, you became aware, but it took like literally an eternity of time. And when I say somehow by some magic you became aware, that's something that I think we struggle with even to this day, to understand that existence is magic. It can't be anything else. It makes me laugh so much when people discredit shit. Just everything is magic, because it can't make rational sense. So yeah, it's somehow I magically gained awareness. Existing and having awareness is pretty fucking magical. Especially the existence part. Yeah. So let's say I've talked for 40 minutes so far, so I gotta squeeze in another 20 minutes because these are supposed to be an hour long podcasts. I'm recording with a new audio interface right now. I'm curious to see if there's going to be any sound difference. I had this audio, and by the way, so if you're not into music production or podcasting or like anything to do with that, this is going to bore you, but hey, this is what's on my mind right now. You know, an audio interface is something you hook up to a computer. That way you can record music or you can record a podcast. So because you can't put a regular microphone into the computer. I mean, you can hook up a USB microphone, but if you want to hook up a traditional type of microphone, you can't just like plug it into a computer. So you need something in between that called an audio interface. So you plug in the microphone in the audio interface and then you plug the audio interface in the computer. So I used to have this old audio interface that was really great, but it's basically legacy now. If anyone kind of understands tech and stuff, my old audio interface was by this company. I don't even know how to pronounce their name. It's either called, I think it's called Apogee or Apogee. I'm going to guess it's Apogee. I think I heard someone say Apogee before. It's a really great audio company. They make these audio interfaces. So it's called an Apogee Duet. Now, it has two downfalls that I eventually wanted to upgrade. One is that it only worked with Apple computers, which sucks because I also have a PC that I wanted to, I have a Windows PC and I sometimes want to record with that too. So yes, this Apogee audio interface only worked with Apple. And the second thing that why I really needed to upgrade was that it was one of the original ones that was Firewire. Now, for someone who doesn't understand what Firewire is, you know how there's like a USB input? There's like a USB port and a USB cable. Well, there used to be another type of input called Firewire. So this audio interface connects, you need a Firewire port on your laptop or computer. Now, those are really not used anymore, and I had to use adapters for it, and then it was complicated. I had to use about 2 or 3 different adapters even to get it working, and even then, half the time, because it's not even supported anymore with software, it was really clunky, and it would only detect the audio interface half the time. So eventually, I said, "All right, I gotta get a new audio interface." So the one I got right now is called a Focusrite Claret or Claret. With a Claret? Jesus Christ, I don't know how to pronounce words anymore. I guess I'm going to say Claret. Yeah, it's a Focusrite Claret 2 Pre. So it's got 2 microphone inputs. This is my first time trying to record with it. So I'm kind of curious to see the sound difference. See, this is what life is about right now. Now, this is going to sound so trivial and funny, but these are the only times when I forget about existence and what the fuck's the end game. You got to just lose yourself in silly, meaningless things like talking about audio interfaces. Because see, for that 5 minutes that I spent talking about this audio interface, I forgot about existence and what the fuck's the point of any of this and why do I exist and what is the end game in this. That's all we can do. That's why people love to keep busy. We can't be in our thoughts. It's too fucking much to handle. If you have the capacity to think deeply, I mean, so deeply that it makes your head fucking hurt to the point where you just want to curl up into a ball. Because it's just, intellectually speaking and rationally speaking and philosophically speaking, it's too much. It's too much to fucking comprehend and make sense of. And it's enough to literally make you go insane. That's why I always feel like I'm literally just a little bit away from going insane all the time. I feel like I'm right on the borderline of going insane almost all the time because I'm in my head a lot. I think about things a lot too much. So the gift of talking about this Focusrite audio interface actually made me forget about that shit for a few minutes. So I'll keep talking about it some more. So this Focusrite audio interface, of course I had to do my research because I haven't been in the audio interface world for a while because I had that Apogee Duet interface for years. I've had it forever, really. I don't even remember when I bought it, like 2000 and... Oh, Jesus Christ, 2007? 2008? I don't even remember, but I bought it a long time ago. It was definitely in need of an upgrade because of the connection issues and stuff with that FireWire port. I'm hoping this new one works just as well, if not better. I heard good reviews about it, so we'll see. Yeah, I got another 15 minutes to go. And I'm done talking about audio interfaces. That's what's fucked up. What do I do now? It's funny. It's like, I know that nobody's going to listen to these podcasts, and that's fine. But I gotta say, don't get me wrong. I guess by some random event, people could start clicking on it and be like, who the fuck is this guy? And they might just listen to it. I get that. That's possible. But generally speaking, first of all, I don't do any promotion, so I don't even know how anyone would find this. That's the one thing about my YouTube channels and this. I really don't promote it at all. I don't really have social media to promote it on. So I don't know how anybody would really find it, honestly. Sometimes I'll upload like a YouTube video and somebody will tell me something really sweet and nice, like, oh dude, you should have way more subscribers. I really love your stuff. I'm surprised nobody watches your videos. And I want to tell them, like, well, how would they watch them? I don't even know how the hell you found this video. Especially the way YouTube works. Like the YouTube videos that I make, they don't really get recommended to anybody at all. Like, they're just not recommended. So you would never see it in your homepage at all. So yeah, it'd be like some sort of miracle for you to ever find it. Not to mention, I don't have any really gimmicky titles or thumbnails. I really hope... Now, I don't want to sound like self-aggrandizing or just to make myself sound like I'm super like revolutionary or something like that. But I kind of hope that in 10, 15 years from now, when people look back at the old YouTube videos, it's weird. I know that nobody watches my YouTube videos now and stuff, but I kind of hope that in like 10, 15 years, when people look back, they appreciate the videos more for the simple fact that I wasn't jumping on some sort of trend. Because right now, if you really want to get views, you got to make meme videos. You got to like really awesome memes, and you got to have really ridiculous thumbnails and really over the top catchy titles. And I don't do any of that. And I kind of hope that maybe in 10, 15 years when people look back, I hope that my videos don't seem dated. Like, I hope that they're just for the content of what they are. There wasn't any sort of cheap gimmick based around them. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, when you look back at all art or music, when you look back at music, there's some music that's, when you listen to it, music from like 10, 15, 30 years ago, whatever, older music, you listen to it, some of it sounds dated and some of it sounds timeless. I really hope, what I'm really trying to do is create timeless videos where you can watch it in 10, 15 years and be like, oh yeah, okay, that's cool. You appreciate it. It's not like you're going to watch it in 10, 15 years and you're going to be like, what the fuck is a meme? What is this? Like, that's what I'm really hoping for. Now, I know that doesn't usually give you any sort of attention in the short term, but maybe in the long term, it'll give you more appreciation. Like, for example, music. If you want to be more successful in music, what you do is you tailor your style and your sound to whatever's popular at the time, right? And then in 20, 30 years, people listen to it and they're going to think, oh, well, that sounds really dated. Every single band and artist sounded like that. But if you kind of do your own thing, somebody could listen to it in 20, 30 years and be like, oh, okay, that's cool. He was just kind of doing his own thing. That's what I really hope. At least that's what I'm going for. That's really my goal. The idea is to just kind of do my own thing, not jump on any trends, and just kind of like do what seems natural to me. And then hopefully when I look at the videos in 10, 15 years, they won't seem too dated, and it'll just be, you can just watch a video for what it is. Because things really do get dated. It's like the fidget spinner thing. It's just, it's kind of like, imagine like when people look back at the 1980s. Now, if you're not familiar with the 1980s, everyone put hairspray in their hair, right? In the 1980s, everyone put hairspray in their hair, but if you were to ask them at that time, why are you putting hairspray in your hair? They would tell you, this is just what I do. It's just my thing. Like nobody ever admits that they're following a trend or trying to be like everyone else. They're just like, this is what I do. I love putting hairspray in my hair, making it really big and puffy, right? But then you look back 20, 30 years and you think, Jesus Christ, clearly people were just following a trend because everyone put hairspray in their hair and it was all big and puffy. And then, everyone always looks back, if they're old enough, I guess, they look back and they're like, oh God, I was so embarrassed. Did you see the pictures of me in the 1980s with my big puffy hairspray hair? And they realize at, 10, 20 years later, they realize, oh God, that's so embarrassing. I was clearly just following a trend. That's what I want to not do. So in 10, 15 years, I don't want to look back at all my old videos and be like, oh my God, I was just making meme videos all day long and, or whatever else, or like I look back in 10, 15 years and I realize that all my videos had really ridiculous thumbnails. Pay attention to me. Look how dramatic this thumbnail is and look at the title of the video. I name my videos very simple, almost. What I'm trying to do is almost the complete opposite. I want you to not even, I want the thumbnail and the title to almost bore you to death, to not click on it. In a weird way, I've always found that interesting. This idea of like, hey, let me bait you in with some sort of catchiness. That way I don't know. It's kind of like, okay, let's say I'm doing a review on a pair of headphones. The Sony 1723 headphones. Why do I need to name it something gimmicky like, watch me eat this pair of headphones? Like, no, I'm just going to name it Sony 1523 whatever review. It's like, why do you need to have some sort of like catchiness to it? Like, whatever you're doing a video on, it's okay if it's just on that thing. You don't need to add some sort of special catchy thing on top of it. It's weird. I just don't like that culture. I don't like the idea of like, if I'm going to talk about something, I'm just going to type the title as what I'm talking about. I don't need to make it into this like, oh, will he do this and ... Like, it doesn't have to be some big mysterious title to get you to click on it. I don't know, it's just weird. And like once in a while I kind of even border on that. Like I'll once in a while I'll name one of my videos something even remotely kind of bordering on that, but not really. And then I'll see the title, and after a couple of days, I'm like, oh, I don't like that title at all. It just looks like too attention seeking, like I'm trying to get you to click on it. So then I'll usually change it. I've done that a couple of times in my videos where I'm like, yeah, that title just seems a little too attention seeking, and I'll just change it to something more monotonous and boring. Because I actually don't like a title that looks like it wants attention too much. Because to me, that always reminds me of just some annoying kid lifting his hand at me, pick me, pick me. I just don't like that. Yeah, this yelling out, pay attention to me. Just, yeah, I don't know. I just don't like that. It's kind of like somebody wants to be the leader. Somebody wants to be the leader should never be the leader in anything. I've always believed in the idea that like the leader is the quiet, wise one that's chosen, you know? You want your leader to be the quiet, wise one that's chosen. You don't want your leader to be the guy who says, like, pick me, I want to be the leader. Guys, I'm the leader of the group. You never want that guy as a leader, ever. So I kind of see videos that way too. Like if someone's yelling for you to watch their video, I don't want to watch their video, you know? It's like a video. If you make a video, it should be good you should be judged by the weight of the video. If the video is any decent, you know, it doesn't need a catchy title. It just doesn't. Like the catchy title does nothing. It's like if a video is good or not good, or if you find it worthy, or if you find it important or relevant or anything interesting about it, it should have nothing to do with the title. It's kind of like imagine a song. Imagine if somebody wrote a really amazing song, but they didn't know how to release it because they didn't have a catchy title for the song. Just release the fucking song. It's either going to be a good song or it's not. The title, it just doesn't fucking matter, right? If a song is good, it's good. Have you ever listened to a song and it was really fucking amazing? It blew your mind. It made you feel emotions you've never felt. It made you feel energies you never felt. And you thought, wow, what a fucking amazing song. I've never heard such an amazing song. But then you said to yourself, yeah, but the title really sucks. So I don't really like it. Who gives a shit about the title of the song? It doesn't matter, right? The song is a song. You could fucking name it song number 89. It doesn't matter. In fact, a lot of people even reference songs as that. Like, oh yeah, the 7th song on that album or that CD or whatever, the 7th track, you know, I really like the 4th track on that album. Because it doesn't matter. The titles don't matter. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not that clueless and naive. I understand the whole focus on the super catchy title so people click on the video. Yeah, but if I don't name it something catchy or if I don't have a really interesting thumbnail, nobody will click on it. Then nobody fucking clicks on it. If you need to try that hard to catch people's attention to watch your videos, maybe is it worth it? That's the thing. I don't know. I don't think it is worth it. If the only way people will watch my videos is if I have really over the top catchy titles and like over the top thumbnails, I don't want people to watch the videos. Now that might sound that might sound like whatever to you, you know, because everyone's got their opinion. Oh, Tony, that's childish or that's immature. You got to just, you know, grow up and understand that that's just the way it is. That's the business. Maybe it is the business, but it doesn't mean that just because something is the business, you have to mindlessly follow along. You know, it's like that. It's like that saying, well, what did you want me to do? Like everyone else was doing it. You know, it's kind of like that saying, you know, like you're always taught as a kid, well, so if everybody jumps off a bridge, that means should you do it? You know, it's an idiotic saying, but it kind of makes sense, right? It's kind of like, wait, so if everyone's doing that's just what you do. You know, you tell your parents, what did you expect? Everyone else was jumping off the bridge. This is the only way to do it. It's like, no, you don't have to jump off the bridge, you know? You know, it's like everyone's jumping off the bridge in desperation to get attention, but you don't have to. Now, does that mean you might not get clicks? Maybe. But everything that you do in life, there's a price to pay for it. You know what I mean? Like nothing comes for free. So Like, for example, there's a lot of people who attained a lot of success in life. They said, listen, I had to pay the price for that. I got divorced from my wife. My girlfriend broke up with me. I lost friendships, because there's a price to pay for everything. If your obsession lies in doing something so much, there's a price to pay for it. So there's a price to pay for everything. If you look back in 10, 15 years and realize that every single one of your videos was like a catchy meme, or like something that was really trendy for the times, and you were just sort of like following every trend you could to get clicks, whether it was ridiculous thumbnails, you're going to look back at that, and that's the price you're going to have to pay, and be thinking, oh, okay, so I had the hairspray in my hair. I went through the 80s and I did every single thing that everyone else in the 80s did. I had the big hairspray hair. I wore the acid wash jeans. And then you realize, oh, right, so basically I'm just a puppet for whatever society is. So whatever is working, whatever works in that moment in time, that's what I'm going to do, because everyone else is doing it. You know what I mean? So everyone's just jumping off the bridge. And I'm trying to say you don't have to jump off the bridge. But of course, the big picture in everything is always that it doesn't fucking really matter one way or the other. Jump off the bridge, don't jump off the bridge. It doesn't really matter, right? Because I'm talking about in-game things. It's kind of like big picture wise, does it really matter either way? No. Does it really matter at all what you do? No, it really doesn't. So it's like, even when you comment on stuff, it's kind of like, oh, we shouldn't do this, or we shouldn't do that, or this is trendy, it doesn't really matter one way or the other. We're conscious, we're alive, and we're having an experience, and what that experience is and what path you choose in life, it just is what it is. That's the path you have. So ultimately, does it really matter? Probably not. But this new audio interface has seemed to hold up. I've been recording for over an hour and it hasn't shut down or broken. Seems to be working great. And I'll leave it on that positive note. So if you're ever overthinking too much like me, and you just too many thoughts in your head, keep it simple. Focus on an audio interface, or focus on something simple that gets your mind off of those big concept thoughts that just kind of drown you in this sea of insanity. That way you can keep your sanity, all right? Because it's nice to be able to relatively keep your sanity to some sort of sane level, because otherwise, if you're just always in those deep thoughts, yeah, you're going to lose your goddamn fucking mind. So focus on your audio interface. Focus on some mundane things sometimes, just to ground yourself, to keep your sanity. And then we're just going to keep playing this game, and we'll see where it goes. And that's that. So I hope you're all doing well. And even if you're not doing well, guess what? We're all going to be really not doing well at some point in our life. We can't escape that. So whether you're doing well or not doing well, that's just, what does it say? That's just the way it goes sometimes. Right now, I can't even tell you if I'm doing well or not. I'm undecided. So now, of course, I hope that we're all doing well, but sometimes you can't be well. You can't have heaven all the time, right? So whether you're doing well or not, I wish you a good day, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care, guys. Bye.